What is going on, guys? Spencer with Sterling Home Inspection. Let me welcome you into my office slash library, and we are going to go through a few of the things that we have run across here recently, particularly this one inspection that I did a couple of weeks ago that just had it had a lot of things wrong with it that I discovered over the course of, I don't know, no lie, like 5 minutes. And so I went ahead and recorded all of them. I'm going to play them back for you just so you can get a kind of a glimpse of what we're seeing out there. And these are common defects, so you'll run across these all the time. All right, so let's see what we got here on the first one. This is me looking obviously perplexed at what I am about to show you. All right, so we have a GFCI outlet that was dead at the outside and was not tripped. So that was a completely dead outlet there, and it's not secured at the top. So you probably got water that's leaking down into it as well. That's not uncommon. We see that a lot. You want to protect those outlets. That's not something buyers like to move in and find out that they've had a dead outlet that the inspector could have checked. Next thing we have here is vegetation that is overtaking the side of the house. So you definitely don't want that. A frayed servant's entrance conductor, man. Just to begin at the top, the vegetation had overtaken the corner of the house to the point where you've got essentially a weight being placed on the service entrance conductors. And over time, what that's going to cause to happen is if those branches continue to grow, if things continue to get worse, you're going to have things that overtake those service entrance lines to the point where if a tree comes in and blows it down, it's going to pull the power straight off the side of the house. So we want to keep all of that trimmed back. And on top of that, it really poses a problem with vegetation on the side of the roof because that's going to lead to moss over time. That's going to grow right there, and you definitely don't want to see that. That's a good way for there to be leaks and problems inside of the attic. The further thing there was the frayed entrance conductor. So that's going to happen. That's just an exterior sheathing right there on the outside. That's common, but you want to have that re-insulated and re-wrapped, essentially. You don't want water to be able to penetrate any of that to any potential degree, just simply because that is your service entrance conduction. That's where power comes into the whole house. If you have damage right here on that corner of the house that is problematic, it's going to affect everything in your house. Everything that you've got plugged into a wall, any hopes that you had of cutting the air conditioner on when it's 80 degrees outside, you've got to take care of that area right there so that you don't have those future problems, for lack of a better way to put it. All right, so beyond that, what else did we run across here? All right, run the garage. All right, so we got a TPR drain line. That's that line that you see running up like a U right there that I point out. All right, so that right there. So essentially that can't go up because what comes out of there is just a small drip. The whole purpose of that is essentially that the water heater, it gets too pressurized or it gets too hot and it has to give off steam. It does that through that TPR drain line. And that drain line then is supposed to route straight from that TPR valve right there all the way down to the ground because it's just going to give it off in little bits. It doesn't come out with enough force to be able to push it up. That's the reason that it has to route downward. So whatever plumber did that in that case was incompetent, I don't know, or willfully doing something that was wrong. That's an easy fix. It just needs to turn and go down because you're never going to get it to drain routing it up like that. I mean, come on. All right, what else? What else? All right, it's really bright outside. Service panel. All right, so we got an open breaker slot right there at the top. So anything that goes inside of that hole right there is going to catch 200 amps of the main power system right there. You've got to keep that thing covered up so that you don't have an issue with there being a shock or an electrocution hazard. That's the main problem there. The plastic cover that goes over that is as cheap as you can imagine, probably less than $1. That you just sit there that an electrician, right, because I can't recommend you do anything, but an electrician plugs into that opening so that nothing can get behind that plastic covering and essentially make contact with that live bus bar. So that bus bar, again, 200 amp. So that's going to, I mean, that's lethal if there is a serious, metal on metal connection right there. If you were to essentially have a screwdriver that would be able to make contact with that live bus bar back there, that would be probably the result of an arc flash would occur. And as a result of that, you're looking at all kinds of bad things that can happen. So we want to avoid those things at all costs and cover those things up as best as we can. Now, we ran across one other issue here. Let me see if I can bring that to your attention. All right, so we got moss on the roof here. Look how lush this is. I mean, look at the detail there. This is it's almost like a little garden they've got going. It's just that you don't want your garden on your roof. And then you've got a couple of missing shingles, and you've got shingles where it's been damaged, and so instead of fixing the damaged shingle, they applied tar on top of those openings right there to try to prevent any water from coming in. So if you go back and you look at the moss growing right there, you could just tell. I mean, this is not good. So what I was able to determine as I moved in and looked at the inside of the attic space, where the underside of that right there, you'll actually notice that it's rotten and you've got water coming in. There's the picture right there. So what's happened is you've got water that has not only damaged the shingles and led to, the vegetation that's growing on the outside, but it's now come through the decking and damaged the underside of that. So now in terms of a repair, you're not looking at just the shingles. You're looking at the decking, the shingles, the underlayment, every aspect to it. And that's probably stemming from, I would think more than anything else, the fact that you've got trees that overhang that area. It's constantly in shade. And then beyond that, you've got water that's just kind of sitting in that area and pooling instead of draining off. And over time, this is the result of it. All right, so that is all that we've got this week. We have seen a ton of stuff. We have seen a bunch of stuff out there, and despite all of this is going on, we're still out there moving at full speed. So if you guys have any questions or anything like that, give us a call, and we'll be on it. We have 3 full-time inspectors, not including the CEO right here. So if you guys need us on a short time crunch, let us know. We'll be happy to help. And as we uncover more things, like all of these things that you see here, we'll continue to bring these to you and show you the value that we provide. Isn't that right? All right, man. See you guys later.